Last week felt like a highlight for this video game industry, something that was badly needed. I always looked forward to these summer showcases, and E3 is no longer really around, but last week felt very E3-ish. And the major highlight, though, was the Xbox Game Showcase, in which we got a number of game announcements, game reveals. We got some new gameplay for Fable and Avowed, or in-engine trailers, I really should describe that as. And Star Wars Outlaws was announced. That's something that looks, a little interesting. The first open-world Star Wars game in what feels like forever. In Exile Entertainment's next RPG, Clockwork Revolution, also looks very promising, but the major highlight was Starfield. This was a bit of a surprise because the gameplay looked impressive. It really does look like Bethesda is back to form, and we'll see how things turn out once we actually get the controller in our hands and are playing it in September, but this does right now look like it could be a Game of the Year contender. Looks like a dreaming game in many regards, but everything we are hearing about Starfield right now looks promising. We even have this headline coming from VG Steez. Starfield has the fewest bugs of any Bethesda game, Xbox has claimed, and put a big underline under that last part. Xbox has claimed, because I've heard that too many times in the past about BGS experiences, and to be fair, all BGS games have had buggy, broken launches. I don't think there has been one that has gone smooth. But that extra year of polish that Starfield has gotten, that may be the big difference maker here. And this is what Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty had to say about Starfield, saying, "We have an awful lot of people internally playing Starfield, working with Todd and the team. I see bug counts, and just by the numbers, if it shipped today, Starfield would already have the fewest bugs of any Bethesda game ever shipped." Music to my ears. And then Xbox head Phil Spencer also chimed in saying, "I think Matt said we have every QA person in our entire company playing Starfield right now. Looking at bug counts, looking at the quality of where we are. The nice thing about what we showed today, from my perspective, is that, well, that was the game. We've been playing the game for quite a while, and that's the game." For a lot of people, these words may be meaningless just because this is pre-marketing hype, but it definitely sounds like this is evidence of Xbox being more hands-on with Starfield, and this is an example of Microsoft using their own resources to help their studios. And it does make me hopeful that that launch for Starfield goes a lot more smoothly than, Redfall did a couple of weeks ago. Now, Assassin's Creed Mirage was announced by Ubisoft a while ago, and we've been waiting on seeing a big gameplay presentation for a while now. There's been a number of delays, but we did get that during Not E3 Ubisoft Showcase, and it looks rather impressive. And what really excites me is the fact that it has a smaller world, and Ubisoft actually admitted this. They say it's smaller because fans are burnt out on massive open world titles. Mirage will be more intimate with a character-driven story, and that all sounds perfect. And everything I saw with this game, it does look like a more classic Assassin's Creed experience, but can Ubisoft's current writers, form a great narrative? We'll see about that when the game launches later this year. Now, one game that Ubisoft did announce that did not go all that well is Prince of Persia. It was like a more Metroidvania type game, and a lot of people did not vibe with it. If you look at the trailer on YouTube right now, has 40,000 dislikes to only 10,000 likes, and the comment section is quite brutal. You must respect Ubisoft's consistency, killing every franchise they get their hands on. Didn't expect one of my franchises to die twice. Nothing transports me to Persia more than that music. Applause Ubisoft, you cannot do any worse. Doing so badly has great merit, and it goes on and on. The graphics it's a choice. It looks very mobile-esque, and I can understand some of the criticisms that people have had. It does feel like there is a big difference between gaming press and those, commenting here. A lot in gaming press are actually impressed by this game, saying that it looks like a more classic Prince of Persia game, but yeah, right now Ubisoft cannot afford another loss, and this isn't looking good for them. Now, Xbox again was very active throughout this week, talking a lot about the company, talking about the future pipeline that they have in place, how they're excited for things ahead. And we did get this one revelation which had a lot of industry individuals commenting on it, and it was that Xbox Game Studio head Matt Booty said that people need to realize games now take 4 to 6 years to make. There are higher expectations, the level of fidelity that we're able to deliver just goes up. And this is something that even Cory Barlog, the game director for God of War 2018, talked about, and he even admitted, and this is the reality we are now living in. We don't have these 2 to 3 year games that are made. I mean, we still see that a lot in the East, but in the West, especially look at a game like Starfield, it took 7 to 8 years to make. Cyberpunk 2077 had its disastrous launch, but that was 7 years in development. And Grand Theft Auto 6, it's been in development in some form since around 2014. So all of these major blockbuster blockbuster games are taking longer than ever to make, and that's why when I look to a game like Fallout 5, probably not going to be playing that until maybe the mid-2030s, and that's just crazy to think about. Now, after Microsoft's game showcase, there was an interesting comment that came again from Matt Booty, the Xbox Game Studios head, and he said that the company has turned the corner on first-party game launches, in which, I don't know about that, Matt. In a post-event roundtable in Los Angeles, Matt Booty said, "We had some gaps last year, but I think we've turned the corner coming into 2023. I feel very good about launching Hi-Fi Rush. We have Minecraft Legends out there, which is doing well. We have Age of Empires continuing to come to consoles. And then we saw today, this fall, we have Forza Motorsport and Starfield." Yeah, there was one big omission from that, and that would be, Redfall. I do feel a little bit better about Xbox's pipeline, but again, we have to see the results. We can't be going off these, in-engine trailers and all of this. It really isn't telling about how the games, will actually play, the actual quality. You need to start having these high Metacritic scores and having these huge blockbuster releases. We have not seen that from Xbox, and until we actually have a good game launch, until a game's being, getting those Game of the Year honors, I don't really think Xbox has turned the corner at all yet. Now, speaking of Redfall, we did get this from, again, Matt Booty, saying that Arcane is currently safe. Yes, if you did not know, there is a reality in which maybe Arcane Austin could have been shut down over Redfall. I can't even believe that's a thing, but this was an interview with Axios that Matt Booty did, and he said that the plan is right now to keep them open. They are hard at work on updates and continuing content for Redfall, and they are right now, Xbox, supporting them to be able to keep working to deliver the games that they have in mind. And later on in this interview, he was asked how is Redfall doing. It was a miss, but how much of a miss? Booty concluded, adding that it's getting good play on Xbox Game Pass, which is hard to believe because if you look at Microsoft's own metrics, this game's not even in the top 50 most played after, 1 month. And then you look to Steam, there's like 40 people playing this game. This just looks like Redfall was a complete disaster, and as Arcane's own staff believed when this game was brought over to Microsoft, should have been canceled or rebooted long ago. Now, one of the big game franchises that was MIA from Xbox's game showcase was Halo, and we did get some interesting comments about why that was. And first off, again, Matt Booty said 343 will continue to work on Halo, but other studios may get involved. And this is really interesting because this is something that I talked about in my previous videos in which we talked about the collapse of Halo, in which I said that maybe id Software, maybe Infinity Ward, maybe one of these new studios should get their hands on this franchise. Booty said the following remarks: "I feel confident in the leadership team at 343, but the team that got us here is probably not the same team that's going to take us forward." And then he continued on when he was asked about the potential, that Activision's Call of Duty team could work on the game. He said, "If something like this were to happen, it would have to come from the studios. It's unlikely that we would come in and dictate that from the top." And I think the future of Halo is quite clear, in which 343 kind of takes they take a couple steps backwards, and then we have another developer. I don't know if that's necessarily a reboot, but there does need to be a future without 343 Industries at the helm. And whether that happens or not, it's unclear. Now, we additionally had Xbox head Phil Spencer talk about Halo not being at the game showcase. And he said that, "I wouldn't say Halo is of lesser importance, but we have over 20 studios now, aka they don't have to rely on Halo as much anymore." And he continued saying, "I don't want to force them to talk about their longer term vision until they're ready." And that was why he said that there wasn't necessarily any Halo content at all shown. And that's probably a good thing. Let 343 do what they need with Halo Infinite, and it does seem like there is going to be another game in the future, but if that is 343, it's unclear at the moment. Now, Diablo Immortal, this was one of the most controversial releases last year, and, well, it recently blazed past $500 million in its first year on mobile, which just makes me so sad because that is a pay-to-win mess. And fortunately, though, Diablo 4, which is the great Diablo experience that I really enjoyed earlier this month, it has also surpassed $666 million, which it makes sense for Diablo. But Blizzard right now cannot enjoy any of their victories because Overwatch continues to be a disaster for them. They recently announced that the story missions, remember, they cut a lot of PVE content. The whole PVE mode has been largely, rescoped, I guess that's the best way to put it, but the story missions that are still coming to the game will cost $15 to access. So a lot of people were like, well, if Overwatch 2 is going to be free to play, you would assume that this content, would be free. But I guess the extra monetization is not helping in that regard. And as you would expect, the Overwatch community is not very excited about this. It looks like we'll have to pay $15 for each set of PVE missions. That's also an additional factor in this, in which, this is only for the first set of 3 missions coming to the game. And if you look to the Season 5 trailer for Overwatch 2, it's just being mocked left and right by the community, has 31,000 dislikes to 24,000 likes. The comment section, I love the part where Anna says bedtime and puts every PvE developer in a permanent coma. I love the part when Junker Queen says take them to the wasteland and then proceeds to waste the entire PvE project. A truly Overwatch 1.5 moment, and it goes on and on like this. And this just further puts into perspective the overall unhappiness within the Overwatch community and the sheer amount of mismanagement and incompetence that we've seen from Blizzard in regards to this sequel, which really isn't a sequel in many ways, but as it stands, a lot of people are demanding that PvE should be free, and as of right now, Blizzard has not indicated any bit that they're going to budge in that regard. Now, Titanfall 3, this is something that's been long rumored, talked about, and it was actually recently revealed by an ex-developer that it was in development for 10 months before it was canceled, and right now I think I speak for many people, you gotta make this happen sooner rather than later. Respawn, please. We also did get more updates on Skull and Bones. This is just hilarious because this game's been delayed 7 or 8 times, and no matter what, whenever it does come out, this is going to be a game that undersells and underdelivers. There's just no anticipation, no hype behind it. I think earlier on, when it was being compared to Black Flag, there was some hype for it, but over time, it seems like the direction for this game has changed drastically, and it just does not look good in any way. And Ubisoft debuted a new trailer, there was some music to it, and one thing that a lot of people noticed, there was no release date. And furthermore, there has actually been some other updates in regards to some testing for this, and insider reports that beta testing of long-suffering pirate action game on consoles has now been canceled. Honestly though, my feelings on Skull and Bones is just laughing at it a little bit right now. I feel so sorry for all the developers working on this because there's going to be no win at all for this game at all whenever it does release, and if it ever does, because right now I just don't feel like it ever will. It feels like it's been in limbo, and it feels like it's going to stay that way for the next couple of years. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 got a major update the other day in regards to the future, in which it does seem like the game is getting a secret reboot in many ways. I talked about that in a different video. If you missed it, check it out, but we are getting some updates on the future beyond Cyberpunk 2077, beyond Phantom Liberty, the upcoming expansion coming later in September, in which Gabe Amatangelo, he previously worked at BioWare working on Dragon Age Inquisition, and now he is the director on Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty expansion. Well, it looks like he's actually going to be the game director for the full sequel for Cyberpunk 2077. Whatever that's called, whatever it will look like, we don't know right now. But CDPR has previously hinted, codenamed Orion, and it will fully unleash the potential that this universe offers, and it will also be making the jump from Red Engine to Unreal Engine. So I'm definitely looking forward to Phantom Liberty later this year, and hopefully it gives us an indication of what to expect from this game director with his full-on sequel, which will probably be coming in a couple of years. Now, as I mentioned earlier on in this video, one of the major highlights of the Xbox Game Showcase was the announcement and the reveal of Clockwork Revolution, a steampunk RPG coming from inXile Entertainment, and it has very, very strong BioShock Infinite vibes, so much so that we had a lot of people assuming that this was the announcement of a new BioShock game. Obviously that is not the case, but we did see a former developer or somebody who was involved in the marketing for BioShock Infinite pointing out that yeah, there are some very glaring similarities with that trailer and BioShock Infinite's initial reveal trailer. This is what the individual said in their now deleted post. A little over 10 years ago, I got to produce the BioShock Infinite trailers, so those scenes are scorched into my brain. Watching the trailer for Clockwork Revolution today felt like I was having a flashback, and they pointed out a lot of similarities with the shots. It definitely looks like whoever was making this trailer for Clockwork Revolution, they took some heavy inspiration in many respects to Infinite. And yeah, you can see all of this, as IGN even points out, the statues, the sky rails, the characters, the enemies, and posters are all very, very similar. And we did have Microsoft respond to this, saying any similarities are unintentional. Players will be able to fully customize their own character in the game, again, RPG. And then one of the game directors, Brian Fargo, called Clockwork Revolution a deep RPG with full character creation, a branching dialogue system, awesome steampunk weapons, and dark humor. So even though the trailer trailer didn't show the differences with BioShock Infinite, it's quite clear that this is a different style of game. One of Microsoft's biggest upcoming games is Fable, likely coming around 2025, and it was quite the surprise that this opened up the Xbox Game Showcase with a new in-engine, in-game trailer. It was something that definitely showed off the vibe of this project. It's a reboot of the Fable franchise coming from Playground Games. It's been in development for quite some time. It has undergone some development hell, but this trailer was decent in my opinion, but there has been a lot of controversy and a lot of concern over the look of the female lead character, who objectively doesn't look all that great. And yeah, the sentiment on that has been very loud online, I guess that's the best way to put it, because if you look at the Fable trailers, a lot of dislikes just because of this. 30,000 dislikes to only 10,000 likes, and a lot of people, well, this is what people are saying. A face only a mother can love. This looks like a game based on a Netflix adaptation based on the Fable games, and a lot of people pointing out that this looks like it's made for modern audiences. And it is worth mentioning, a lot of people were initially thinking that this was a self-insert from a developer on this project, based on a 4chan shitpost, but no, that is not the case. The actual facial model, the individual who's going to be playing the character, Lily Nickel, announced her role on Twitter, and she does look somewhat like the character. I say somewhat because it's not a one-to-one comparison. I don't know why they didn't do that, because she looks a lot, I feel like they did a disservice to her. But yeah, Fable right now is, they face an uphill battle, and I think that it would be very good if their next reveal shows off a character creator, because right now there's a lot of concerns for this project. Now, another game that I've been extremely excited for and was shown during the Xbox Game Showcase was Avowed. This is a game that was rebooted a while ago, as Jason Schreier revealed, I believe last year. It has gone through some reboots and changed directors pretty recently, and it was not shown in 2022, but we saw a new gameplay reveal, and it took a lot of people by surprise, but not in a positive way. The graphics don't look as... I think a lot of people had a vision in their head that this was going to be more realistic than the direction that they're taking with this, and that's based on the CGI trailer that we got a couple of years ago. It's quite clear that maybe Obsidian scaled back the project's overall vision, and that's something that Obsidian actually talked about in recent interviews. We first had the revelation that this actually won't be an open world game after all, and then we had an IGN article saying Avowed size and scope closer to the Outer Worlds than Skyrim's, and they're trying to manage expectation. And then we have this interview from PC Gamer which lays out what exactly happened with Avowed and why it looks quite different. As the headline says, Avowed started as Obsidian Skyrim, but evolved to focus on depth over breadth, where Obsidian really shines. When Avowed was first announced with a CGI trailer back in 2020, the headlines were that it looked like Skyrim. And yes, it turns out that was the plan, at least at first. Originally, we were pitching in essence our Skyrim, confirms Obsidian CEO Fergus Urquhart. But that is not what Avowed is as it currently exists. It's going to be, I think over the course of time as we worked on it, Bethesda makes an awesome Skyrim, Mojang makes an awesome Minecraft, and Turn 10 makes awesome racing games. And then he said that what does Obsidian do? They make great RPGs. And he continued, that's when we backed up and said, again, what are we good at? What's our lane? That core for Urquhart is Obsidian's dedication to storytelling. And then the game director for Avowed saying every game development process for every title is, different. There's iterating, polish. And then she additionally said that the scope of this project, sometimes you realize the way you're building, it is not quite living up to the experience you want to create. And so in iteration and refinement, you say, well, how do we create the experience that we want to deliver to players, and particularly as a studio, how do we deliver on what we're really good at specifically? As we looked at Avowed, we wanted to make sure that we really were fulfilling those strengths and creating something that felt like a true Obsidian RPG. So that's their way of saying that the project has been rescoped, it was rebooted, and I think that this is a confirmation of that. How this project turns out, I think there's a lot of disappointment in the air, a lot of people just of the feeling, what happened to this game? But we did see another Obsidian developer on a random forums talk about this trailer, saying that to clear up misconceptions, though, I'll say this, the game is big and open, which I think is nothing like the Outer Worlds. So it seems like there's some messy communication in regards to what this game is, but that trailer looked very bright, and this developer goes on to say a lot of the game is being kept hidden right now. I think you will have to wait until the next trailer or some sort of presentation to really see it, but it is safe to say that it's very Obsidian. No, the entire game isn't all bright and happy town. No, it's not also indistinct visually. Once we actually see some Avowed gameplay in action, hopefully that will lessen some of the skepticism that a lot of people right now are feeling about the the project, but it has been said that Avowed actually isn't even in alpha yet, and the graphics will be refined. How much so? That's unclear. Now, Grand Theft Auto Online has evolved quite a bit over the last number of years, and one of the big new monetization tactics that Rockstar Games has implemented was GTA Plus. This came last year, and it was something that was met to uproar from the gaming community because a lot of people felt that this was an indication of more pay-to-win nonsense coming in the form of microtransactions, and that's exactly what it has been. We've seen Rockstar do a couple of minor things here and there in the past in which you got better rewards if you were subscribed to GTA Plus, but they really upped the ante now with the introduction of the Vinewood Car Club. It is quite the new monetization mechanic. It was added to GTA Plus a couple of days ago, and as it has been announced, the first of these perks for the new club is that a new location for members of the club where you'll have access to a curated stock of distinct vehicles to test drive, order to your location, and use while in free mode and purchase at an exclusive discount. You'll also inspect the complimentary GTA Plus vehicle inside the club and claim it directly from that location. As a GTA Plus member, you'll be at liberty to utilize the club's rotating selection of vehicles at your leisure and convenience in free mode. Pretty much you get exclusive vehicles, exclusive content in this new GTA Plus update, or overall update for GTA Online. And the membership will also allow you to purchase each of these vehicles outright at an exclusive discount, as well as claim the club reward vehicle for each free month. And again, this was meant to uproar one of the biggest Grand Theft Auto Online YouTubers, TGG, saying, damn, they really did it. Now GTA Online is not only pay to play because it's $60, but now you also have to pay the GTA Plus subscription to access all of the new content. Insane. And to further this, what Rockstar did next is the least surprising but almost even more insulting. They removed over 180 vehicles and moved some of them behind a paywall, again behind GTA Plus. As VGC notes, a newly released GTA Online update has seen hundreds of lesser used cars removed from the game, with some being moved behind a paywall. Prior to the release of the popular online game's new San Andreas Mercenaries update, Rockstar confirmed that it would be removing some cars from the game's in-universe shop. Now, thanks to fan efforts to catalog the list of missing vehicles, it has emerged that nearly 200 vehicles have been removed from GTA Online, a move Rockstar said that they were doing so they could streamline the shopping experience. These companies always give an excuse for taking content out, but it always benefits them financially when they do stuff like this. Rather interesting. Adding to the backlash is the discovery that some of these cars can now only be purchased by members of the GTA Online Plus subscription service, meaning content that was once easily accessible to all players via in-game currency is now only available to those who pay a monthly fee. And TGG, the YouTuber I just mentioned before, pointed out that the Sterling GT is an example of a vehicle that was previously available, now being locked behind GTA Plus. And on the GTA Online subreddit, you can see some of the uproar and anger about this, as somebody even mocked. They said, new cover because Rockstar removed the N5 from Legendary Motorsport, and yeah, this is just another bad look from Rockstar Games, and it has me concerned about the monetization for Grand Theft Auto 6. Take-Two Interactive has been very vocal about wanting to monetize further. This is something that Strauss Zelnick said a couple of years ago, saying that they weren't maximizing their monetization business. We are convinced that we are probably, from an industry view, under-monetizing on a per-user basis. There's wood to chop because I think we can do more, and we can do more without interfering with our strategy of being the most creative and our ethical approach, which is delighting consumers. We're not going to grab the last nickel, but it does seem like that's exactly what is happening, and it has alarmed a lot of people because the monetization for Grand Theft Auto 6, it's going to be a big topic of discussion. Rockstar Games and Take-Two are already expecting to make billions of dollars when GTA 6 does release, but concerns are mounting that the monetization is going to be atrocious, and it does make me concerned that we see Rockstar Games go in the direction of Ubisoft, in which we have single-player monetization, in which there are, you know, maybe time savers, maybe clothing monetization, maybe an in-game store. This is going to be a huge game, and how they monetize it is going to be very interesting. What we're seeing right now from Grand Theft Auto Plus is, I think, an indication of what the future holds, in which there's a subscription service, and if you actually want to get the full GTA Online experience, GTA 6 Online, whatever it's going to be called, you're going to have to be subscribed to that. And right now it's only $60 a year. It could be more in the future. This is just the nature of this modern video game industry, and especially in regards to GTA Online, we've seen it become more pay-to-play, pay-to to win in the last year than ever before. And with GTA 6, I hope it doesn't go in that direction, but it does seem like to maximize profits, that's something that Take-Two Interactive most certainly would do. Now, anyway, what do you make of everything that we discussed? There's been a lot going on in this video game industry over the last week or so, a lot of big game reveals, new announcements, and controversy with different titles, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.